Hey, what is up everybody? Relates for here, and today I have for you guys another video of Persona 5X. And inside today's video, guys, we're going to be doing the Summer Moko guide here. There's a couple of you guys did want this as well, so I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how to build said guide, or at least build the character, what passives you should do, skill priority, anything of that nature. So look forward to it. But right off bat, let's go ahead and dive straight in. All right, so checking out the character and the passive should you dupe this character. Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys already know my standpoint on this, and I would definitely say without a doubt, do not dupe this character. It is not really worth it. None of hers are really worth it. I guess you could try to argue and say A1 is, but let's be honest, we already have Marion for that, so there is no real reason to it, or at least reason, not reason, to actually have the A1 unless you just want to have another healer who has an AoE healing skill. Her heals aren't too crazy, so it's pretty not necessary to really have her actual things here. But checking out at least her dupes. So her first dupe, or at least her first regular old passive, pretty much all you got to know about this, since it's a long just list of different text here. 3 sparks will end up triggering follow attack. With that in mind, any side damage that she does, of course, decreases damage dealt by a good 20%. Alongside with this is her follow-up damage is based on the number of people who are on the field, or enemies that are on the field. She's also able to restore HP with this based on her attack, and when an enemy dies, spark can be distributed to other enemies, in which the damage in general is based on how many enemies are there. Pretty simple, pretty easy passive. The only issue with this is she just does no freaking damage. So I think the highest I've gotten her to do with her first skill was like 20k, 30k, and that is actually wild because you will see this character does no damage and her healing is kind of abysmal. Now, when it comes down to at least the first passive, in which, okay, weird persona thing happening, but when it comes down to the first passive, this one pretty much after enemies do take at least damage from her gorgeous fireworks, she will end up decreasing them by 12%. This has up to 3 whole turns and can be stacked up to 3 times. Alongside this, her second skill will now heal you, which is always pretty decent, but it's kind of one of those things that I feel like should have been in her own kit, or at least her first off kit, instead of something we had to get from A1. But that's just my thing. You guys can say what you want to say, and I don't mind it. Now, I'm not even going to go over through her 3 and 5 because absolutely, I'm being honest with you. A1 is technically not needed. You really just don't need it. I would say either you go for A0, being just get the character, or you're going full in for A6. And A6 is really important because pretty much all of her things that she had with gorgeous fireworks, stuff like that, she will then evolve them into brilliant fireworks. This allows her to increase her crit rate by 35% when dealing damage with brilliant fireworks. And then of course, after the enemies do take said damage from this, it will then permanently increase their damage taken by 5% up to 3 stacks, meaning an easy 15% of actual damage taken increase. And then alongside with this, the stacks is now going to be maxed. It will then increase their crit damage taken by 20%. This is the only thing that is worth with this character. If you are all out well, then go for it. Other than that, Dolphin, don't care. Even you can be a little bit more than a Dolphin. Do not dupe out this character. It is not worth it. Her dupes are not needed, and her passive is kind of mid. But that's personally my opinion on her. You guys can go ahead and decide for yourself. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the skill priority. All right, so checking out this character's skill priorities here, we do have a lot to go over, and that's going to be with her actual persona. Now, her persona, I'll be honest, the reskin's kind of lackluster, but it's still a cool persona in general here, in which the ones that you want to go ahead and go for when it comes down to at least the actual skills is going to be her skill 3. Her skill 3 is really helpful in general, and it's going to help you in general with like, at least building up your sparks, as well as increasing the damage taken for the enemies itself. It goes up to 19.5% once it's fully on maxed, and then of course after you hit, the effect can inflict spark for 5 turns, or at least 5 sparks here, which is going to be very helpful for her follow-up damage and most of her little gimmicks. This is what you want to go ahead and max out first. It's going to be very helpful. Highly suggest doing so. The second skill that you want to go ahead and get up is literally the second skill. This is her actual heal. This is going to help you out when it comes down to at least HP buffing, or at least HP increase. and then also help you out with attack and EHR buffing. Now, in my previous videos, I was talking about how she is definitely going to be made for Haru. It's mainly because of that EHR buff that she gives, but also because of the attack percent. Both of them are pretty darn decent. It's just kind of a shame that one, it's a single target, two, it's just stuck on a character that really doesn't deal too much. Now, of course, she does add more sparks on here, in which can inflict certain effects, which is always good as well. Now for the next one, we're going to be talking about the skill one here. Skill one is the last one you want to get up. It's the least important one. It does deal some decent damage, being at least 77.6% once it's fully on max. I have mine at 73.1, but it hits 4 times at random on random enemies here, in which each one that has been hit will be randomly inflicted with 1 spark, or can be randomly inflicted with 1 spark. This will then decrease their damage of the same target being by 30%, which is perfectly fine. And then of course you get a gorgeous firework out of this, allowing you to restore a certain amount of your skill multiplier by 51.7%. Pretty darn decent. Nothing too crazy with her. It's just the last thing you really want to get. Then of course you would end up going for the highlight. So how this goes for the priority list, be sure to get the 3 skill, 2nd skill, 1st skill, then of course your actual highlight. But now that we have that on out the way, let's go ahead and get into the next thing, which is going to be the weapon options for this character. So seeing that this character is another variant of other, or at least the other Moko, there is a couple weapons that you're going to be using. But one thing I will tell you, any weapon that belongs to this past Moko, do not use them. They're literally just meat sticks. They're not going to do anything for you. They're absolutely useless. Now, in terms of ones that you could possibly use for her, you have yourself technically only one option, because I'll be honest with you, the 5-star is not necessary. I don't have the 4-star on me, so I will have to pull it up for you guys, but pretty much you have the 3-star that is usable, but not really. No one ever wants to use a 3-star. The 5-star is very helpful. It increases her healing bonus. It also increases the damage of the gorgeous fireworks, and also allows you to increase damage taken for 3 turns to 3 stacks for gorgeous fireworks as well to the enemies, though it's not fully needed. If we go ahead and take a look at her actual her weapon herself, let's see if I can actually pull it up out of here. If I can't, I'll just pull it up on, yeah, I can't. So I guess we'll go ahead and just pull it up somehow in here. Once we go ahead and look at something like this, her 4-star weapon, in which I can't even pull it here, god dang it. Well, I'll just let you guys know. 4-star weapon, it increases the attack percent by 14.0% up to a 24% in general. The reason why this is important is because her whole heals are off of her damage, right? Her heals are based on her damage. There is a reason why you want damage on this character, especially when you do need it. Now, of course, it does have its healing bonus aspects, which pretty much after triggering gorgeous fireworks, you increase your healing bonus from 13% all the way up to 24.8%, depending if you have the weapon dupe or hold 2 turns. It is very helpful, to be honest, to have that 4-star weapon. It is not needed to get the 5-star. You guys, at least a couple of you guys, saw me doing pulls, and oh my god, what is happening? We keep having that weird little disconnect thing. But anyways, you guys keep seeing at least my pulls and things like that on stream, and you guys kind of saw when I did my first 2 multis on her banner to try and get the 4-star weapon, which I still do not have. You guys kind of saw that, and you can tell that the 4-star is way better, and I just got really lucky for the 5-star. 5-star is not necessary by any means. You can go ahead and skip out for getting this 5-star. Heck, if you're a whale, I mean, go ahead, knock yourself out. But I personally don't see it necessary to even get her 5-star at all. Just get her 4-star and dip on out. But that's just me. But that is the weapon options that we have went over. Let's go ahead and go over her gear sets and things of that nature. Now, one of the reasons I've been kind of avoiding a little bit of doing at least gear sets, or at least doing these videos for this, is because we don't have the TW translator just fixed just yet. But for the skill sets, we do have a lot of options. So first things first that you guys want to immediately go ahead and do is get this skill set right here. This is called the Joy skill set. You could very well use the Love skill set, which is actually, let me go ahead and find it, unless I've gotten rid of all of them, which I may have because I don't see them up near the top. But you You could also use the Love Gear set here, but I would highly advise using the Joy one because this helps her out with her damage. Now, when it comes down to the main stats that you guys want to go ahead and actually look for, of course, HP on the sun, healing bonus on the star, on the moon here. On the star, you want to have attack, and then on the Saturn piece, you actually want to have attack as well. This is kind of just a staple place right now. I do want to have attack on this instead of what I have on her right now, in which I can't remember exactly what it is. I think this one was for SP recovery, which is totally useless. But you want to have attack for this one as well. I don't think I have any good attack cards. Oh no, I do have one. So boom, there you go. So you want to have something looking like this. So HP, healing bonus, attack. That's going to be your best thing to do. Mainly, you're going to come out looking somewhat like this, and this is going to help you do all the damage and more that you really do need to do, and pretty much help her get all of her heals. Now, when it comes down to at least the set that you want to use for the arcane card, be sure to use this one. Try to pump it up with as much attack as possible, like speed, attack, things like that. Try to do that. It will be very helpful. Now, substats in total that you guys want to go ahead and aim for. Substats would be, of course, speed, damage bonus, attack. Those are going to be your main big boys. You want to get those first. Your fourth one can vary between crit rate, crit damage, and HP. If you do get HP, that's the bottom of the barrel, but I mean, like, it still works. Crit rate and crit damage are the same way. You get crit rate, crit damage, yeah, they're the bottom of the barrel, but it still does work. Your main three that you want to look for is going to be speed, attack percentage, and damage bonus. But with that all out of the way here, let's go ahead and go into the next section, which is going to be the best team comps for Moko. Okay, so getting into the best team comps for her, this one is a little bit different here because, of course, we have not done much with her just yet, but I've already kind of taken a look and seen how I want to do this a little bit for her. So let's go ahead and just name this on as Psy. And there's not really too many teams you can run currently because we don't have really any Psy DPSs currently. The Psy DPS that we're going to eventually get is going to be Haru. So right now we can only do a certain team at the moment. She doesn't fit in any other teams. She literally has one team. So how this is going to go, you guys want to use her with Closer. Closer and her actually do pretty darn decent together, and I would advise you guys to try to utilize them because, of course, at the end of the day, she is a healer in which Closer needs those extra heals to overfill to get more of her damage. Once you have this in play, you're also allowing her to actually give Closer a decent EHR buff and a attack percentage buff, which comes in handy for her hold on kit. And all in all, she's just kind of a healer buffer. This is really good in general to have, but alongside this, you also want to bring in Cord. This is just to really spam either one of their ultimates, to be honest. Moko's ultimate is kind of okay at times, but it's not the craziest thing. So normally you're just going to be using this on Arai here. Arai's going to be pretty much your hyper carry. You're going to have your, of course, supporter right here being your heals, and then you're going to have your main buffer for damage and stuff like that, or Closer. So this is a good team that you guys can possibly use. You want to use Phoebe, but if you don't have Phoebe, go ahead and slap Okeon in. Reason being because she's more of an attack offensive character, so it makes more sense. And excuse me, but so it makes more sense when it comes down to it. Of course, you can replace this with Rico. There's nothing really bad about doing that, but I would rather you guys try to use Okeon for this, and then if you have Phoebe, use Phoebe because that's going to be your main go-to character. Now, when it comes down to Wonder, of course, you want to go ahead and just boost this up with either some Psy buffers, some healers, and things like that. Reason being here is because Wonder, as usual, is going to be our supporter. With him in mind here, we need to make sure that he's helping us do everything possible to just make Arai and make Moko shine. So the more attack buffs, more like healing and stuff like that that you can have, the better you will do. Personas itself is kind of hard to choose. If you have Koryu, I would definitely use Koryu because then you can kind of try to utilize Wonder into a DPS aspect, but it's still going to be kind of iffy. Just use what you got on hand. It's not really going to hurt you too bad when it does come down to him. But all in all, that is the full on just build guide review when it does come down to at least Summer Moko. If you guys have any questions and things like that that you want answered, be sure to tell me down below in the comment section. And boy, oh boy, we're going to be streaming later on today, so look forward to that. And till next time, everybody, peace out.